Good morning and welcome to Coach's Corner with Callie Ray. I am Callie Ray Stone, and I have developed this Coach's Corner as a way for us to coach in a more convenient way for you. So this is really my service to you. The goal is to be able to do our coaching in an online fashion where you have the ability on Zoom to interact. We can be live as in person, but we don't have to have the location restraints. I'll tell you, I just got back from a 20-day tour of our 50 and 50, the Northern Route, and I have a whole new appreciation for online learning. I've been doing online teaching for several years now, and at first I was very skeptical, but I find it to be a very, very flexible and effective method of coaching and training. So I've decided to bring my coaching into this modality as well, for a couple of reasons. One is the obvious convenience. You know, I don't have to have you across the table from me, or I don't need to be in your home physically. We can do it virtually, and as a group we can be able to interact and gain from the questions and insights of others. So it is a group coaching course, a group coaching time, but it is also individual. So what is wonderful about online, which is what we've kind of a secondary benefit that I didn't really think about initially with online, but I've gotten a lot of feedback from students and clients that they appreciate when it's recorded, because then they can go back. And when it's live, you know, if you miss it, you miss it. And if the live time doesn't line up for you, then you miss it. And so what's great about the Zoom is not only is it live and interactive, but we can also record it. So then you can go back, or if it doesn't fit your schedule, then you can join and review it at your convenience, your availability. Now, with that, there are a couple of caveats, because if it's easy to participate, it's also easy not to participate. So I want to discourage you and remind you that coaching is about giving you the tools and the support and the accountability to be able to maximize what you have, okay, what you already know or what you're learning, and to be able to take that to another level. And that's the whole purpose. So if you're not tapping in and using that, then you're not going to have the outcomes. You're not going to see the change that you really, really want and need to see. And I say that coming from, I am a product of the SAD lifestyle. I absolutely, when I was finishing up schooling and deciding what I was going to do as a career and going into my career field, I was very, very focused on a scarcity mentality. I didn't know it at that time, but very much providing and going through the motions of what our society tells us to do and be. And so it wasn't until many years later, when my health was, I had 3 autoimmune diseases. I have 3 autoimmune diseases, and ended up really in a health crisis and needed to make some changes. And I'd already made the nutrition changes and the diet changes, and many of the lifestyle changes, the physical stuff. But it wasn't until I had that big picture of how they all interact together in a lifestyle that I recognized how destructive the SAD lifestyle is. Not just the SAD diet, but the SAD lifestyle, how destructive that is to our spirit, to our minds, and ultimately to our divine potential. And so I really have developed the Living Well Lifestyle program to provide a structure and a support for people to be able to know how very effectively to step out of that programming and that SAD lifestyle that is so automatic. It's so automatic, right? And a couple of things that I know to be true after many years, actually several decades, of neuro cognitive reprogramming and therapy and behavior change. That's what I've done as a speech language pathologist. It's what I've done as a transformation coach. So what I do know is that you cannot change something you're not aware of. It's a fact, because you will just run on auto. And so the first thing we have to do is we have to become aware. We have to recognize the choices we're making. We're probably not making them consciously. We're just running on subconscious autopilot. So that's really why I'm here as a coach, is to help you identify and be aware of the choices you're making so that you know how to make them to best support you. Okay. And then how do we do that? This will be the deep dive, the tools, the tips, the actual application of Living Wow. So to start with, a couple of things. One is you first have to be aware. And so I have the Living Wow Lifestyle Daily Playbook. And if you have not yet downloaded this, then let me know. Okay. You should have, if you're in this coaching, you are in the membership portal, and you should have already received this at some point. If you have not, please email me so that I can send it to you. Also the training link that goes into how to apply the Living Wow Daily Playbook. And again, that's because it helps you have the structure. Okay. I've already done a training on that, and that's open to the masses. It's not specific to membership, but in membership, we're going to actually go through it. We're going to, in Coach's Corner here, we're going to dive deep and actually go through some of the tools that help apply the Living Wow Daily Playbook. Okay, so playbook is tool 1, which you, I believe, should already have access to, and possibly, probably, hopefully, are already implementing. So now we're going to go and dive deeper. We are coming up on the end of the month, and for me, that's always a time to start looking into next month and planning. Part of it is my personality. I'm a planner. I enjoy planning, and it helps me be consistent, because consistency is not one of my natural character traits. I tend to be, I have lots of ideas and lots of, I'm a visionary, so I see lots of opportunities, lots of things, and actually having that consistent execution is, has been challenging for me. So one of the ways I can get around that, and this was one of the very earliest adoptions that I did, and I think that's why I'm putting it early on in this coaching, is because I feel like it's foundational. And if you start some of these things as a foundation, then you can build on it. If you start up here, you're not going to have the foundation to really be able to be effective long term. Okay, remember, Living Wow is not a diet. It's not a fad. It's not, you know, you're going to change, you're going to do something for 10 days or 21 days, and then all of a sudden your life is going to be transformed. It's not that. Now, there are some 10 days, some 21 days, some 3 days, some, you know, there are some different challenges that we'll do, because I think having that intense focus, like we're going to do today, as you have that intense focus, it will help you to be able to apply it. And once you get through that daily repetition, the muscle memory starts to kick in, the mental programming starts to kick in, and boom, before you know it, that's your new autopilot. And that's what I said when I was going through my transformation. I said, I'll know when my transformation is complete, because instead of it being a conscious choice of I'm making this choice or I'm doing this behavior, when it becomes my normal, then I'll know that I have transformed. And that was the case when I recognized that the food choices I was making, the activity choices I was making, the tapes that I was playing in my mind, and my awareness of the energy that I was picking up and that I was giving off, all of those things started to become very second nature, very natural, very much my normal. And so that's why I felt like at that point I was able to then share it and help others do the same. So I want to show you the menu planning. And I'm going to put this up. I'll do an actual menu for August that I'm going to post. You can, I would recommend, it just depends on your personality, but I would recommend that you adopt it for the month. Give it a try. Some of the things that we did when we were learning and as a family, kind of trying to get everybody on board, because I had young children when I was first going through elimination diets and identifying inflammatory foods and trying to eliminate processed foods from our diet. Those were some of the things that really are foundational in the Living Well. It's become foundational in the Living Well. And so having a menu that the family can all kind of, and we still do today, we'll kind of sit down and I'll say, okay, I'm planning August menu. What do you want on it? We look at the season. What's in season, what's in the garden, what's at the farmer's market. Is it right now? It's summer, so it's hot. It's very hot. And so we need cooling foods. We need fresh foods. There's lots of fresh veg available to us right now. So we're going to want to eat that. So putting that in the menu. So, and you'll see, I've got several different ones here. I've done it, we call it Stonehouse Cafe at our house. So I have this type of a menu. At the bottom, I will do like special requests, special events. What do we have coming up this month that may throw us into autopilot, like the holidays, that they're famous for that. So what are the favorite snacks? What are some of the desserts? We don't want to take those things out. Again, this isn't a diet, it's a lifestyle. So we want to have foods that are delicious and satisfying and really that we enjoy. So making sure that that's on there. So I will do one for, then we kind of switched format. You can see, again, it's not about the format. It's just about the content that's on there. So January looks a whole lot different than March because this is the dead of winter and March was spring. And now the one that I'm going to post up online for you all to take a peek at, you're welcome to follow it and use it, or you can download it and change it, or you can make your own. Okay, it's just that's what I want to challenge this week. I want you to focus and think about what am I eating? There are some really great apps. FitnessPal is one that we've used pretty successfully. People have their Apple Watches, and however you choose to do it, your FitnessPal, your there's just all sorts of different ways that you can. Good old-fashioned writing down is what I still use mostly for my food, although I do use FitnessPal app when I'm really tracking the amount. But for me, it's not about calories, it's about nutrition. So a couple of guidelines that I want you to think about. The menu is the tool, okay? So the tool to apply the Living Well dietary guidelines, okay? You'll also see the dietary guidelines there, and really the whole, if there's anything to keep it simple, because I'm kind of a simple person, so, and I don't like to be told what I can't do, because if I'm told what I can't do, I'm probably going to go try and do it. I'm a little rebellious. I don't know why that is, but so again, that shows in my coaching. I want you to have control. I want you to have flexibility, but I want you to have some guidelines, because if you are just doing it the way you've always done it, you're not going to have any change, right? If you could do it on your own, you would have. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to show you and help you and support you in this community to be able to thrive. Whether that's with autoimmune diseases, whether that's with any diseases, or maybe you're already, you're doing well and you just want to continue to build on that to be the best you can be, which is kind of why I've taken it from the surviving to thriving, because I'm there now. I've done the journey, although it's a perpetual journey, but that thriving takes maintenance, okay? And every once in a while I'll slide back down into survival mode, and then I pull myself out, and I'm able to pull myself out now in hours and days instead of in weeks and months or years. So The guidelines. If you can think of one thing is eliminate processed food. Okay. That is, rather than, you know, there's all sorts of different diets out there. There are all sorts of different diets out there, and it just depends on what decade you're in, whether it's low fat, low sugar, low salt. They're always cutting something out. And for me, you have to replace, again, this is behavior modification 101. If you try to take something out, you are going to feel deprived, and you're going to rebel against that. And you're going to go bounce back. That's why I always, if I lost 10 pounds, I always gained 20 back. That's not healthy. And so what I've learned is, if I first put in, if I have so much of the good stuff, there's no room for the bad stuff. Okay. So instead of a mentality of, cut it, don't eat it, don't eat it, don't eat it, I want you to think about putting as much whole food in your diet as you can. If you have a choice between, what's something that's potato chips. Okay, this is a really obvious one. If you have a choice between a baked potato and potato chips, take the baked potato. Now, calorie-wise, is that not going to really be a whole lot different, but nutrition-wise, baked potato is a whole lot closer to the earth than the potato chips. I love me some potato chips. It's probably why I use that example, because that's a tough one for me. Potato chips and donuts are probably my two big processed downfalls. If I'm going to have something, I'm going to have it, but I don't anymore to that amount that I used to have. I mean, I could eat an entire bag of chips. I'd like to see you try to eat a bag of potatoes, right? So your body gets the nutrition. And when your body gets the nutrition, it doesn't have the cravings that it does when you're eating processed food. Processed food does not assimilate in your body the right way. So we're eating too many calories. We are not calorie deprived. I haven't been hungry for a really long time, but nutrition deprived. We are very nutrition deprived in the SAD lifestyle. Okay. So we're replacing, rather than saying, you know, don't eat. And there are some things that we'll recommend because they're inflammatory. If you're dealing with autoimmune, inflammatory foods, pork, white flour, white sugar, red meat somewhat, you just, meat in general, sparingly. Don't cut it out. You need meat, and God gave us meat for a reason, but more plants than meat. Okay, so really focus on lots of plants, because plants are your antioxidants. They help support detoxification. They support your repair. I call it my flu. So if you think about the metabolic fire is creating smoke in our bodies. Okay, that's a visual. You've got to open that flue and let the smoke out. And antioxidants are how you do that. Antioxidants come from fruits and vegetables. They come from plants. So lots of plants. If you fill up your plate with plants, a little bit of meat on the side, you are going to find yourself satiated, and you will not have those cravings for the processed foods as much. Now, again, use that Living Well playbook to help you with the other aspects that will also help with that. Okay, but for this week's challenge, this week's invitation, okay, is for you to really focus on what you're eating. I do Shred 10 the first 10 days of every month, so that will be reflected on the calendar. During the Shred 10, it's no gluten, no dairy, no added sugar, no caffeine, no alcohol. So lots of no's. And I already told you that lots of no's tend to put me in a bit of a rebellious state. So again, I fill it with lots of good things. So I, of course, have my Juice Plus and my complete shakes. That gives me a really good foundation of nutrition at the micro level. And then I'm eating as many plants as I can possibly eat. I cut out all processed foods. So by cutting out processed foods, it automatically gets rid of this whole hand, right? Coffee, alcohol, processed sugars, gluten, and dairy. All of those are, for the most part, they're pretty processed. So if I just cut out processed foods, then all of these are gone. So again, I'll have those resources there for you. If you want to join me on the shred, then let me know. The biggest difference is the Juice Plus and the Complete. It's a couple of shakes a day of that whole food shake. Okay, so really focus this week on getting your month ready to go so that you can be aware of what is in your pantry, be aware of what's going in your mouth, be aware of the tapes that are running. What are your triggers? For me, when I get in the car to go do home health, I trigger drive-ins, drive-throughs. It's horrible. And it is a trigger for me. A stressful day, if I'm really tired. Another trigger for me is to order pizza. Okay, so this week I want you to focus on what are your triggers and how can you set up your day with Living Well Daily Playbook and your month with a menu so that you can cut them off pass. Okay, and then next week we'll work on how to actually maybe do some the next step. Okay, so this week, one step at a time. It does take time. I want you to go in and download the Living Well Daily Playbook and also download the calendar. All right. I will see you next week at Coach's Corner. Thank you so much for participating.